Okay guys, hi, it's Stephanie here with Escape and Paint. I am participating in a fundraiser of sorts. We're raising awareness for the fundraiser. We are encouraging everyone to go check out Art and Grace's fundraiser, raising awareness raising some funds Man, I can't talk today. Let me grab my phone where my notes are. I left it over here accidentally. Okay, so let me get back over here to my notes. Boy, oh boy, today, I can't even keep my name straight. Okay. I'm participating in a fundraiser with other artists to raise money for the fight against Alzheimer's. Deb with Art and Grace is starting a group to help caregivers find peace through art. Her page is Art and Grace, and she will have loads more information over there for you. And I apologize for getting a little tongue twisted. Okay, so I've got a general outline. Where did I put all of my tracers? Okay. I painted me a canvas with the blue in the background for a sky because I hope at the end of today's live to do an iris on this like it's sitting on a hill or at the top of a hill and where you can see it. If I don't, I don't, and I'm not going to cry. I'm working on these irises. What we're doing here, okay, let me get is I'm putting two different colors on my brush at the same time. And this one I actually went back over it a little bit with some of it. And then we've got some fullness here, and again I've been going over my one in the middle a little bit to cover up how I don't like how these are coming out, but that doesn't mean that I can't get better. I've traced several times, practiced quite a bit lately, and I've got two different kinds. If you look at these pages, we've got the one where there's two up and two down, and a kind of you can see the bud on the stem, and then there's this one that's like the other ones where there's three up and three down and kind of two shorter ones sticking out, and I'm just kind of playing with what I want to do on the stem there. But I think we can get through this. I think we will enjoy doing this. As you join me, if you'll say hi and let me know where you're watching from in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it. I will credit Donna Dewberry and her one-stroke painting technique that's been around for like 25 years. Hey, Lori, good to have you with me today. With learning how to do any of this. And no, I am not a certified one-stroke instructor. Please don't think I am. Please don't think I'm trying to be today. I'm not. I am just playing with a technique that I've always watched and liked, double loading and putting two things and getting a brush stroke and it going. Hey Miss Deb, how are you? I've always enjoyed painting that way, and I think it'd be fun. So I've got several sheets here that I practiced on the back here yesterday some more, and so I've got it kind of drawn out. What I kind of want you to see when we're doing an iris is, and this is for the three leaves, you've kind of got your center of your flower here, and you're gonna give yourself an imaginary line here. And when we get our two colors of our iris on the Jessica, I'll have to answer that later. When you've got your, and I'm going to do a smaller brush for this part because I'm after tracing, you're going to give yourself kind of a little V here at the bottom, and you're going to have a line that's going to be our center, and we're going to go wiggly, wiggly, wiggly all the way up and kind of go around and then come back down to our V. And this right here, this is the center of the next one and the center of the next one, and then we'll do these two and then this one in the middle down here. And you can do these either in the middle of doing those. Mine, if you don't do them quite wide enough, they get kind of covered up by these. So lately I've been kind of trying to come back at the end. But I'm going to get started now. I have chosen some colors. I've heard of Walk to End Alzheimer's, and as a result of actually talking to a friend of mine last night, Melissa Taylor, who's actually done one, I made me a paper flower of pretty red and purple and white for Alzheimer's. And I learned about some of the colors whenever I decided to do my iris. I just love irises. They're one of my favorite plants. Don't know why, but they are. So I decided I would do a purple and yellow one, mostly because purple is the main color associated with Alzheimer's, and in the walk people carry a purple flower for someone that they've lost to Alzheimer's, and yellow is for the caregivers. Blue means that you're living with Alzheimer's, and orange means that you support Alzheimer's Association. I picked my orange shirt today for a reason. So I've got a little bit of navy blue here, because if we wanted to add some blue and add that darker color in there, we can. So I'm going to put a little bit on my plate. I've got just a purple here. I've got a much darker purple that I think I may be going to use, the Dazzling purple from Deco Art versus the just purple from Anita's. I like both. I've played with both. I actually have a mixture of some paints that I got from Deco Art that I just don't think it's bright enough for what I want. So I think I'm actually going to do my Anita's today, because I want it to be a brighter purple. So I'm going to put some purple on here. And then I'm going to put, like I said, just that little bit of black of the navy blue if we want it to be a little bit darker, or add a little bit of shading in there. I'm going to go ahead and add some white. I think I gave everybody a pretty good list in my event, or a description of the event yesterday, but I'm not real sure. If I didn't, I'm sorry. And I'm just using snow or titanium white from Deco Art. A bright yellow is good. Primary yellow from Deco Art. I've got a banana yellow, but I don't think I wanted to do that one. I don't think it was quite the right shade. So I'm going to go ahead and put some yellow over here, because we're going to have some yellow in that bottom part of that. And then I'll do I've got a Hauser dark green and a sour apple that I am going to use for my stem if I do a stem on it. I think I will if I do it on my canvas. Now, you don't have to have floating medium. I bought some because it was on sale when I looked at Hobby Lobby yesterday or 2 days ago, so I bought some. It does help the color to stay flowing easy, so I'm going to put a little out here. If they start getting dry around the edges, you may just need to load some more paint if you don't happen to have a floating medium. I'm going to use a 16 on my practice sheet, and like I said, I've got several sheets set out to practice. I did discover that these are easier to do if you have a stiffer bristled brush. As y'all come on, if y'all would say hi and where you're coming from, and let me know that you're watching. That way I can say hi. And if you have any questions about what we're painting today, let me know. Again, I looked up Donna Dewberry when I decided I wanted to do an iris, because I've seen her paint before. She's been around for 20 plus years. I think it's something close to 25. And she's amazing. And I've always liked the double loaded, do one stroke and make it work good kind of thing. This is my 3/4 inch brush that I usually use, and it's really soft, and this one's a little harder. You kind of have to push to get it to bend. If you can see that difference, I hope you can. Really, it doesn't take much at all for it to go. This one's a little stiffer, and you can almost hear it. I don't know if you can hear it or not. Here it is. I can hear a difference even when that one's stiffer. So I'm going to use my stiffer bristles, because it'll stay on its edge and stay in that sharpness a little bit tighter there. So I'm going to put my paint over here where we can still see it, at least for the now. You want 3/4 of your brush to be in the purple and about 1/4 to be in the white. We're going to try not to grab too much of the purple at any one time. I do like to try and keep the white sharp though. And I'm going to just add just a little bit of that medium. Grab a little more purple and tap my brush in the white at the edge. Alright, so I want the purple on the outside of my flower, so I'm going to angle it this way with my purple on this side and my white on the inside. If you prefer to have white on the outside and purple on the inside, you can. Or if you're doing it in different colors, you're more than welcome to. Hey, Miss Linda, how are you? I'm going to start, like I said, I drew this out to give me kind of a guide. Most of the other ones I didn't draw it out, but I'm going to try and trace over this one so you can see how I'm doing. You kind of start here and you've got yourself a little V, and I'm going to do it like this. And you're going to wiggle as you pull. Wiggle, and you're going to kind of lift up on your brush a little bit, and you're going to come around. If you can't make it all the way around, that's not a big deal. Just kind of stop at the top, lift up, and if you needed to, you can roll it over. I don't have room, I don't think, for that to show all of this bottom corner, and come from the other direction, so I'm just going to stay right here. But you can, if you needed to, and I'm going to do another center over here. I'm going to do this one over here a little different. I'm going to do it backwards. You can go up, and if you needed, you can stop it and go the other direction. I'm trying to remember to stop. Once I get going, I get okay with just keeping going. So, and I'm going to practice my center one a couple more times. If you run out of paint or you get low, about the time you hit the top, lift up. If you need, turn your brush over, turn your paper over. My camera doesn't hit the right spot well, so I can't do it as well there. Trying to make sure it's showing my comments there. Okay, and then I'm going to come back up and I'm going to wiggle as I push. Try not to lean too much on it. Keep it as straight up as you can. But you see how these edges are a little drier? It's where my paint was drying out a little bit. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is before you start, my brush was a little damp that I was going to use because I'd already dipped it in my water and got it wet and kind of tapped it off once. If you get too much paint up here or in the way, you can always just wipe it out. You don't necessarily want to get rid of all of it. And then I'm going to come back and grab a little bit of white. And I kind of stick a little bit of purple up here at the top of my pile so I can kind of grab it. And then come white. I like to try and keep that purple kind of dark. Okay, now, and I'm going to encourage you to kind of practice a couple of times on your center flower. It took me forever. Hey Maria, thank you for joining me. It took me forever to get, there's a flip on this one, so you kind of got to watch how much you're leaning when you're doing this one. And again, this line is supposed to be toward our center of our flower, and I may even bring it in a little bit as I get going. Again, I'm doing white in the center, so my white end is toward my center here, and you're going to come in and you're going to wiggle. And see how my brush is kind of standing up? Oh, I didn't have enough. Got too dry. Hang on, I'm going to have to grab more paint. Okay. So one thing I love about this is you can just kind of go right back over it and it's not that big a deal. I call this double loading. I don't know what anybody else calls it. We're going to kind of we're twisting it. Now if you look, I'm trying to show you where you can see it. We're kind of twisting. We're still giving it a few wiggles. We're going to get right here and then we're going to twist the whole brush and bring it under. I'm going to do that without, right here, without another brush. Without the leaf that would go right there, but I'm going to show you right here, kind of it goes up. You get to your top, you come over, you wiggle, and then you twist. See how it's got that little curve there? It's not as sharp a line. And I kind of need to go back over that one because the color did not come out the way I wanted it to. So, yeah, I told y'all. So, I want you to stay with me and finish watching mine, but when you get done, you can go look up Donna Dewberry and One Stroke Painting. She has a relax and paint video that she was going through all of this with, and she's just amazing. I've watched her for years. But this is, I've always enjoyed doing the one painting. Now see, I can come back in here, since I don't like how this side turned out so much, I can go back over this, coming in here, standing up a little bit more with a little more paint, and bring it in like that. Again, this smear right here is the reason I like the stiffer bristles. The softer bristles just seem like they just kind of pushed out wide. Let me find my brush. This one's a little bit of a wider brush anyway, but when you went to do with this, see how much wider and fatter that got? I can't seem to put the right amount of pressure on it to keep it light on that twist like that. And see, that's still wider than what I wanted it to be. Here's a brush that they're the same width, but you can do if I get enough paint on there, I can show you. Sorry guys, I thought that would be enough paint to finish to show y'all. As you do that, and you come over here and then you do this, see how much thinner that part of that swoosh is versus that's kind of wide and thick right there. That's why I went and got a thicker, a harder, a stiffer bristled brush. I'm going to put both of these over here to soak, and I'll probably end up needing to, I'm going to go ahead and clean the stiffer bristled one real quick so that I've got it when I get ready. Okay, but it takes lifting up and not putting too much pressure as you're coming around here, because you kind of want it to flop around there a little bit. You just don't need it to be too much in one spot or not enough in another. So it's trying to learn the right amount of pressure when you're doing that. Now to do the other side, we're going to turn the other way, and I am going to angle this way and hope I can still be seen. Again, this is our center line here. I probably cut that one too far. See, my solution to this is I go back over my center flower. If I don't like how it all turned out for whatever reason, I just grab some more. I load my brush. Sorry, that scooted out of the general area. I load more paint on my brush, and then I come back and I go back over my center. And that's my solution too if I don't like how it turned out. You can always go back in and fix it a little bit, paint over it with another color if you didn't like how something worked. If you wanted to add a little better, you want your white to be like this one's got the best amount of white showing in it. Personal opinion, it's the brightest white. If you wanted a little more white in these, I went back on this one when I didn't put white on this one, but I did take white and worked it in to those curves. I was trying to see if I chose to do this one color at a time, if it would work. Can you move the canvas to our left a little bit? See, I need to practice a little bit more with doing some of this stuff because I need to put my paints over this way. So I'm trying to move it where y'all can see a little better. Let's see if I can move all these paints over this way and still get to what I need to. I'm right-handed, so getting everything to the right where I need it. Okay, so what I did here is I took the purple and I did it, and then I went over it with a smaller brush with white, and then I took some white with my brush like this and kind of did like a wiggle with it only on a small piece. Now, this kind of defeats the purpose of double loading our brush because we still have to come back and do this again. And then I took and did kind of like that. Now, it looks good, and if you can't get it loaded on your brush with two of them at one time, by all means, do it that way. But I like the way it looks when you can get it to do it right and you have enough white loaded in there. And here was like a purple one with lots of yellow in it and lots of purple. And I really liked how those turned out with all that color. So now, like I said, I went back over this one because I didn't care for it. But if you can get it down right with one, I had to practice. I've been practicing for a couple of days because I want to get them right. I love irises and they're very pretty. Now, just the purple and white. We're going to do these two little ones that I had sticking out here. Again, you're going to have to watch how you flip and twist here, and you don't want too much pressure going on. So you're going to kind of go here and you're going to go out and wiggle, and then you're going to kind of flip it up. You're kind of making it look like the leaf is coming up and twisting back in. I've got several sheets for practicing because I really feel like I need to do several tries out, maybe to a point, and then you kind of come and you flick it back up where it's kind of flipping in. Then these are going to have our yellow on them, and they're going to kind of cover some of that up, so it doesn't really matter. Where'd my paper towel go? Okay, I know I had a paper towel that I'd wiped some on already. Anyway, so I'm going to wipe this off my brush. I don't want to squeeze it out. I don't want it all gone. But we're going to add in the yellow now. And if we want to add some depth to our purple, we might add a little of the navy blue to the purple to make it a little bit darker. Just to add a little more punch to it. So I'm kind of mixing some right there. We're going to get the darker purple and the white on our brush. If you do purple and white just by themselves, it's going to get purple and yellow, it's going to get real muddy real quick, and you don't want that. So now we're going to take just a little bit of yellow and put it at the end. Okay, so now, did y'all see that okay? Nope, we didn't. Okay, I've got the darker purple that I grabbed, that I made with the little bit, and I've got it right here. I've got white kind of in the middle. You don't need loads, but you do need a little bit of yellow on the end. And we're going to work it into our brush up and down, but you kind of need that white to kind of stay in the middle, otherwise it starts looking like mud in the middle. Okay, because I want the yellow in the middle, I'm going to start right here and we're going to wiggle. We're going to come out. I didn't have enough paint, or it didn't last long enough, so I'm going to reload. And I'm going to grab just a hair of that yellow. Now, I'm going to come back up as I'm twisting. I'm going to come here. Whoop, got it backwards. We're going to come here. And we're going to get it right about here. And we're going to do that flip again. Kind of make it look like it's flipping back up. We're probably going to paint over the edge of this as we do our center leaf down here, because it's going to be a big center leaf. We got to come reload to make sure we've got plenty, and I probably need to add a little more navy to another pile of the purple because I ran out of navy purple, the darker purple. I'm going to go ahead and wipe my brush down and get some of that out so that I can get cleaner lines. While I don't have anything on here, I'm going to put some white in here on my plate. And I'm going to grab just a touch of the yellow right there beside it so that when I scrape through, I can grab the purple that I want. And I have the almost 3 stripes. It's not great stripes in the middle, but when you look at my brush, I've got some yellow in the center with some purpley blue in the yellow there. So that'll be better. Now, since we're doing on the other side, we're going to flip the yellow to the inside of our line again. And we're going to start right up here at our center. And we're going to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And if you aren't comfortable here, you can turn it back over and kind of come this way. My colors are getting very muddled today, and I'm not very happy about that. My lines are not as clear as I want them to be. I think I'm going to stop worrying about whether it's got blue in that purple. And I'm going to get blue and purple on this brush. Purple and white, just some white, just the purple. Then we're going to stick a little bit of yellow on the end. And now we're going to do our center one. We're going to start right here like we did the other one. We kind of have a V here. I've got it at the wrong angle for starting. And we're wiggling back and forth. And you can flip it and start right here and then wiggle back and forth. And have them meet like that. If you've got, like I was doing it there, you can go all the way around. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. And it's not a stressful thing. If you do it either way, you can stop and do what you want either way. Now, see how I said these little ones get lost when you do these hanging down ones? You can go back and get just purple and just white. And come back and shoot them back in there. Now, she had a center on hers that was basically a little bit of white across here. And I'm just going to kind of do this because I don't think she showed me how to do it, and I don't remember if she did. So, like I said, I appreciate y'all sticking with me. I enjoy having y'all visit with me. And I chose my colors as a nod to the Alzheimer's Foundation and the colors, because purple is the typical Alzheimer's Foundation color, and if you do one of the walk to the end, and it was talking about flowers, and I was trying to figure out what flower specifically is associated with Alzheimer's, and there's not really a particular flower. So I thought I'd just do purple and yellow, because many irises that I have seen are like purple and yellow and white. And white is the color of hope. Orange is a supporter of Alzheimer's Association. Blue means that you're living with Alzheimer's now. And yellow is usually someone who's caring for someone with Alzheimer's or dementia. And purple, if you carried it in that walk, meant that you had lost someone. So I was just trying to kind of tie it in with the Alzheimer's thing. Deb Brown has this amazing fundraiser going on that we're trying to help raise some awareness for. So like I did some really big practices. You can use a smaller brush. This one is a 16 and it's fair enough size. I mean, these leaves are way out of proportion compared to the top leaves, but depending on the angle that you're looking at your iris, they might be. I did, like I said, over here there was a couple of different ones that I had done where you had the 3, or there was the one where, hang on, you had the 2 up and the 2 down, and either one of them works, whatever you want to do. I'm fixing to show you this one now so that you can kind of get an idea. This one would just be a straight stem down. I think if I were to do this one again, I would go over this part. I would do my stem coming down, and then I would do this petal last. I would have it start right in here with my greens and then come down, and then I would do my purple leaf over it, because that would give it better coverage, like the stem going all the way up underneath there. So now we're going to show you the one with the 2 up and the 2 down. So I'm going to load again. I'm getting the purple and white. We're just grabbing some white and some, I'm going to grab a little medium to try and help keep mine wetter because I talk too long. And I'm going to put some purple on there. And now, again, we kind of got to think, where's our center going to be? And let's just, I'm going to put a pencil dot so y'all can see what I'm talking about by finding your center. I'm painting with you, but I need a lot more practice. Yeah, this took I've got like 6 pages front and back where I did just this one alone. And then it was like, I'm screaming, ready to beat myself trying to get this one. And then I finally gave in, Deb, and bought a new brush. And you can see the difference in this stroke and that one. And this one is just so wide. And this one's a lot narrower. And it kind of gives that a little, I've still got to work on that twist there and getting it right. But it was still, so I'm going to put a little dot right in here. Up. To kind of give myself a center reference. So on this one with our 2 on the top and the 2 hanging down. Oh, I think that's probably too close to the edge for the hanging down ones. So I'm going to scoot it back over this way a little bit. Hope y'all can still see. Again, I've loaded my brush. I've got white and purple. What brush am I using? I am using a 16 that it says the Fine Touch. I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday and got, they don't say what kind of brush it is, what kind of hair it is on the brush, which really had me irritated because I wasn't going to pay $12 for a brush only to know only to know that it wasn't going to be stiff enough. But this whole set, I got like 10 brushes yesterday of varying sizes, all with it says the Fine Touch, and these were blue handled at Hobby Lobby. But I could tell whenever I felt them, you just need a stiffer bristle on there. This is a 16. We used a 3/4 when she said she was using a 3/4 when I watched the Donna Dewberry video on YouTube. And it was very, it gives you a bigger flower, and irises are kind of bigger, but depending on what how big you're painting it, you might not need it to be quite that big. So I'm going to put I want to do, because I have a plain white background, I'm doing my white to the center. I love the idea of them having the white on the outside, but my white is just not going to stand out against, if I'd had a gray or a darker background, I might could get it to stand out better. So I'm going to do my white, and I'm going to start, again, here's my center, so I'm going to put me a V right here, and that's about where I'm going to start on that one. And we're going to wiggle. It got dry on me after all. Like I said, I talked too long, y'all. I talked too long. Yeah, with it took me a lot of practice. Oh, I'm sorry, Lori. I hate that the internet's not working well for you. I'm going to go over that just because I like that edge smoother than that. And then you just kind of bring it around and just keep wiggling in and out, and then you come down. Oh, I like that one. I almost wish it was on one of those now, because that's a pretty one. You know, sometimes I surprise myself with how they turn out, and then other times I'm like, yeah, that one's just not working for me. Hubby's like, but it looks fine. I'm like, it does not look right to me. So what I'm going to do, see, our center dot was right there, so we're going to put the other one, I don't know if y'all can see where the angle of the camera is. I'm trying to get out of the way and still hold the brush where I can do it. I'm going to line it up where it's going over about the center of this half, because you want it to look like you're looking at it dimensionally, if that makes sense. So I'm going to kind of try to line up, and I'm going to do another V there, and I'm going to come up. I want them to look like they're about the same height, and I'm going to just go right on over it. See how rough that edge looks? The floating medium helps a lot with that if you can keep it wet. I'm going to turn my brush over and come up because I had a lot more paint on that side. And I hope y'all can see that, because I don't know if you can or not. And now I'm going to have to kind of turn it to do my turn. Ah. Make sure you got your white pointed back in, and then you can pick up and come back. And kind of tie it back in. Okay. Sometimes that's easier said than done. And again, you kind of have to, if you're not careful or you don't have it loaded just so, you might need to wipe it out. I keep wiping mine out over here and coming back and reloading. And you try not to put too much of the wet paint in there, because then it does just kind of ruin it. It muddles it and squishes it out too fast. So I'm going to grab a little of the medium, and the floating medium, and I'm going to put the purple, and then I'm going to grab the white at the edge, because I'm trying to keep that as pure white as I can. And as I drag it through, it keeps squishing out some of the purple into that. So I'm trying to keep that one. Thank you, Philip. All right, so we've kind of got this as our center dot, remember, down in here. So now we're going to do 2 really big leaves on the bottom. And if you want yellow in it, you can. I think I'm just going to do purple and white right now, just for the sake of showing y'all, instead of trying to add that third color. You don't want them to be too long compared to the upper ones. You do want them to kind of have, and again, we're just kind of wiggling along. I think if you have it at a slight angle, it gives it a little bit better, a little more smoothness to that edge. And you kind of want to do just a little bit of a little twist there. I'm going to load up a little bit more paint here. Grab that other one. Now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to I'm trying to make them angled down like they're curving down. Mine don't seem to be curving very well, so see how you can go from one side and then go down the other if you can't make the turn. I would normally just move my water and be turning my canvas, but I'm scared to turn it so that y'all can't see it. Sounds good, Lori. I hope you enjoy the replay. Thanks for at least trying to watch. So if we can get the purple and white loaded with the yellow, or like I said earlier, I can go back with a little bit of yellow, and I just put just the teeniest bit on here, and then I kind of go right here and kind of trace similar to what I did. Grab a little bit more, and you can come back in and, but see how that starts to get muddled where it's wet? I would need to wait till it dries to put the yellow on top of it if I wasn't going to put it on in the same one stroke. Again, I'm going to try that. I'm going to put some purple and some white, about half and half on the brush. See, I've got half and half purple and white, and it's mostly white, and that purple keeps dragging in there. Now I'm going to grab a little yellow on that end. Now I'm just going to go over the whole thing, because it's got the yellow in there with a little bit of the white. Now I say you just play with it, because I've seen some really pretty irises with all kinds of colors in them. And I'm going to grab again while I've still got it semi-straight right there, and I'm going to go ahead and grab over here. And I'm going to go back over this. If you don't like it, you should be able to fairly easily just re-grab your paint and come back and redo. Just kind of stick to your edges. If you didn't like your edges, kind of go over them a little further. Make it just a hair wider if you don't. And then just kind of come up here. And then it's kind of like that. Alright. Hey Sherry, thank you. I was telling everybody earlier that Donna Dewberry is where I learned how to do this, and she just put a video out on YouTube. Thank you for staying with me, and I appreciate you coming and hanging out with me. And I'm not a certified one-stroke artist. I've practiced for days trying to get this down because I love irises, but she can walk you through it even better. But I'm having fun trying, let's just put it that way, because these colors, but I had a couple of different colors that I was trying it with that I thought were really, I've got a friend who's got one that's got some burgundy and orange in hers and some yellow on it. So I'm looking forward to trying that for hers, for her one. Okay, so now I'm going to leave these over here so that I can try that again in a minute. Thank you, Kristen. I'm going to get me another plate. What did I do with the rest of the plates? Oh, there they are. I was like, I know I put them somewhere close so I could find what I need. I'm getting my dark Hauser green, and I've got sour apple. Somebody else was saying that the type of paint you use makes a difference. I like Deco Art, but I was finding that it was almost a little thin compared to like some of the folk art ones, the Plaid brand, the folk art brand, in that it kind of doesn't hold on to your brush where you wanted it to as much. And I'm going to put a little bit of the floating medium on here just to kind of help it smoothly go over. You don't have to have it. I did it several times yesterday. In fact, I'll kind of do it now. Okay, now I've got my Hauser dark green and my sour apple, and I'm just loading them just back and forth. I don't have any medium on this one. Now for our stem right here, we're going to want to kind of push and twist. Just push and twist and lift. And then if you want to add a little bit of white for a highlight, we'll stick that white right here at the edge. See, I've got these right here. I'm going to add just a touch of dark up here to kind of catch it, and a touch of that there. I'm going to load this right here again. I'm going to put a little more of that green and sour apple, but then I'm just going to catch a touch of the white, and I'm going to try and drag it down the edge to load it in so that it doesn't get too muddled. There's not a lot of white showing there, but I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to kind of lay it down and then twist it, and then just kind of drag and lift. I'm not good at this part yet. I will be. I am determined to learn. But as you lift a little bit, and you're holding it more straight up and down, and you're bringing it straight down there. I need a little more. Okay, so I'm going to kind of attempt to fix. There we go. Now I added the floating medium, and see how much smoother that dark looks down this side? So it might be an advisable thing to go ahead and use some floating medium. I got it because it was on sale the other day. It's not something I've typically purchased or used. And I'm going to go ahead and practice another stem here. And then maybe I'll flip it this way and kind of go. It kind of gives the impression that it's got a knot. And then it was coming around the knot like it was wrapping around it. And then you kind of twist it a little bit, and then you can get the dark angles and shadows on it. Uh-oh. Somebody said they can't see the stem. Can y'all see it now? Did I get it where y'all can see it in time? Or do I need to do it again? Do I have it moved up now so that y'all can see it? Is that better? Okay. So, let me show y'all again real quick up here, since it was apparently out of the camera view. I'm going to load some more dark green and light green. And I'm going to show you, you do a push and a twist. Kind of push and a twist. See how it looks like it's kind of got a little holder there for the bud to sit in. Now I'm going to add just a touch of white on the edge. I've got all this greens in here, but I can't get the white to show up. Okay, so, and I'm going to come from the darker side with just this hint, and I'm going to kind of try and line it up here, and then I'm going to gently pull it down. That was way more white than it was supposed to be. So I guess I didn't wipe my brush down good. See, that one looks pretty good. You've got the white highlights where it's coming down. It's not too much of the dark. It's not too much of the other color. Okay, so we've practiced. And I'm going to recommend you practice a lot. So I think I'm going to do one on my little canvas over here that I've got prepared. And then I think that I shall be done for the live today. Okay, so I'm going to grab, I think I'm going to put my stem on here first. Because I was saying earlier that I think I need, okay. So I'm going to get some of this dark green and this light green and work them both in here. Because I'm doing just a straight stem coming down, I'm just going to kind of do like that. I'm going to angle it a little bit so it's not quite so wide, but it is kind of a thick stem. And then you can take your dark and your light, and you can kind of put some leaves kind of coming up and twisting. I don't have that twist down very good yet. I'm working on learning that one for sure. But if you come on up and you're working on pulling it and then flipping it and it coming down like that. Okay, now I'm going to work some more black, some green and darker green and light green in here. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to keep the dark on the bottom side on both of them. Actually, I'm not, because this one's got more dark on the top, so I'm going to kind of do like this and have it flip like that. Woo, I can see now. Thank you, Philip. I appreciate that. Again, it takes a lot of practice, and all you have to do is just take you a piece of paper and just keep practicing. But if you'll flip it and roll it, you can get the highlight staying or the low light staying with whichever one. So I'm going to rinse this, and I'm going to switch to my slightly bigger, well, no, I'm not. I'm just going to use this one. I'd rather use this one. Okay, and I'm going to switch palettes back to my purples. I'm going to add a little more purple, or a little more white to my plate before I get started, because a lot of that got contaminated already. So I'm going to add some white. I should have enough yellow. I'm going to grab, okay, I'm going to grab some purple. And I'm going to put some white right there. I'm going to work it in. Okay. So, I'm going to start about right here. And we're just going to wiggle. Okay. I'm going to turn it over. And because I got lots of paint on this side, I'm just going to go back over it this way and bring it up. When it dries, you can go back over it. I'm not going to mess with it until it's dried because I don't want to mess it up. It does give it kind of a 3D look, Crystal. It really does. I've struggled with all my flowers and all of my stems, and I'm just trying to make sure that I can figure this out. And I figure if I'm wanting to learn this, somebody else might be too. So I just opted to try and paint this one today because I really wanted to learn it. Again, I'm trying to keep my white pure. It's obviously rather muddled in here. And I said I wasn't going to go back and do that until I had let it dry. But apparently I fibbed. Yay, we can maybe see better now. My sweet husband is trying to help me to see what I'm doing. Okay, so that one looks pretty good. I'm going to load up a little bit more. And if you want lots of great help with learning to do double loading like this and learning on flowers and stuff, Donna Dewberry is where I learned how to do this, and I'm going to give kudos to her and hats off to her for her videos where she teaches, and she's got all kinds of awesome videos for sale, and on YouTube you can find them where you can just kind of follow along, but she does a great job teaching them, and I would hate for anybody to think this was my idea or that I came up with it by myself, because I sure enough shooting did not. She does an excellent job teaching. I've got to get some of this on the other side so I can drag it down. Okay, and we're gonna kind of push and come back in. We want it to wiggle a little. We're getting down to that last little part, and we want it to flip our leaf. Oh yay, see, it comes back into that bottom down here. We can just put a little bit of that white right there, and it fixes it. Now I'm gonna load my black and my purple and white. I keep trying to say black. I don't know why. It's purple. It's obviously purple. Now I'm going to turn this canvas upside down. Lord willing, you can still see it. I'm trying to make sure that my camera view catches up and that everybody can see. But I can do this one better upside down. I don't know why, but I can. So I'm going to kind of come out and wiggle. Ugh, of course I did that one backwards. Well, let's just load up with a little bit more color. And we're just going to do that one again. Yep, needs a lot more purple to cover that pink up, the white up. Okay, I'm going to come back and we're going to hit it with a little bit harder on the purple, a little bit thicker on there. We're going to come back, come up. Kind of trying to make our turn here. Now I'm going to turn it back around so I can pull it down, because I do better pulling than I do pushing. I do way better pulling than I do pushing. So I got to make sure I got my white in the right spot. I'm going to come up and around and kind of wiggle it, and then we're going to bring it right there. There's a lot of extra paint on there right now, and that's why it slid like that, but I think I can live with that. I think I can live with that. I'm going to wipe it down pretty good, and I'm going to grab about half and half purple and white again. Remember, now we go half and half because we want it to have about half and half, and then we're going to add just a little bit of yellow on that end. On that white end, because we don't want it to turn into mud in the middle. We want it to be yellow in the middle. And now we're going to come over here and I'm going to do this one. I'm going to have to try and drag it this way. I'm just going to turn my canvas as I'm going and get it where I want it. I'm going to come back with just a little bit of purple on here. A little more purple. A little more of the yellow. Okay, because this purple is just not wanting to come off on here like I want it to. There we go. We can come back on this side a little bit and kind of add where I've got a little bit more purple in there. There we go. I'm going to wipe it down and reload it because I don't want it to get too muddied. So I'm going to again grab purple and white, and we want 50 and 50 on that. We want it to be mostly white on that one side, because we don't want it to turn into a muddy color. Why is that muddying like that? Okay. Now I'm going to grab some purple and work it in on that half. Then I'm going to stick it in the edge of my yellow. I'm going to come back here and work it in just a little bit. And we're going to do this one. I want the yellow to the inside, so you need to make sure your yellow is pointing to the inside. And we're going to have a wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I've got to get some more on there. Turn this over. I'm going to turn it over. And we're going to kind of wiggle. Most of this one's going to get covered up. Oh, I love how that's turning out. I'm getting excited, y'all. Yeah, happy accidents. You said, okay. I have not been brave. Well, I'll repaint. I'll paint my whole. If I have a happy accident and I really just can't seem to fix it, I will just paint the whole thing white or the whole thing black, and you might have a little tape line in the middle or something else. Like this was a sky that I was working on. I didn't like how it worked, so I completely painted over the whole thing white and was going to do it again, and I thought, oh, I need it for this, so here we go. I'll just do it here. Okay, again, I wiped it all completely down. I'd rather start again than have it be muddled and muddied. So I've got purple and white. Now I'm going to add that little bit of yellow in here, because that gives it. Now I'm going to do one in the center, and I don't care if it covers. It's going to cover part of this leaf and cover part of that leaf, so we're just going to kind of my concern is that it just comes down far enough that it covers the top of our stem and looks good. I want it to have a little bit darker on the purple on the outside. So I'm going to kind of drag my edge with a little bit of purple. I think I have some yellow on that end. I'm going to rinse that out. And I'm going to grab some purple on that edge. And I'm going to kind of I'm going to have to reload it completely. Come on. All right, one more try. There, we've got a little more purple coming through. A little more purple coming through. Need a little more purple on there. I don't even mind if I come a little further over, kind of grabbing that edge a little bit and making it a little smoother around that edge of that one. Okay, so now I'm going to wipe it down, get a purple and white again, because remember I skipped those two little sticky outy ones because we kept covering them up when we do our lower leaves earlier. So I just do them at the end so that I can get them. So I've got purple and white again, and I'm going to kind of come in here and we're just going to shoot it out just a little bit and then kind of flick it in. I'm going to work it in on the other side, and we're going to kind of go way in. Kind of want it to come to that, and then we want it to flick up. Now, I don't have a real, I'm going to take a short bristled brush, a very short bristled brush. Let me find one that I have that's shorter and bristles. This one's kind of short and it's still kind of stiff. I don't even know what it is. It says chisel blender, but it's short in this. So I'm going to take a little of my yellow and I'm going to pounce it in. I need to get some yellow, and I'm going to pounce it in right here, kind of in our center, and you can kind of pounce it up a little bit and around in there to make it look like the polleny bits. And then I'm going to come over here just a little bit up this one. And if you wanted to do a little thicker here in the middle so that it looks more like it's the center of the, there you go. All right, guys, well, I need to sign it. I need to sign it. Now, you could also take your liner brush and run it through some of your darker green or your lighter green or a little bit of both, and add some grass. If you want it on a hill and it looks like it's kind of sitting on a hill with some other stuff, you can add some different. I'm not wanting it to look perfectly whole there. It's just, my focus needs to be more this. So I'm going to do this. If y'all don't mind, I think Deb put the link to her fundraiser in there. So if y'all go check that one out. I think I posted in my event for today and something else on a regular post that there's a way to donate even if you didn't want to do her fundraiser event. There's a way to donate to it even without attending and doing that painting, but I think it would be a blast if you would be missing out if you don't do that. But that's up to y'all. Thank you, Miss Kathy. I think it's turning out okay. And I'm going to stick a few more little ones in here, and then I think I'm going to call it done. Oh, let me get one more of that green. Come on, come back in there. I didn't want a whole lot of grass or a whole lot of clouds to distract or anything else, so I just kind of wanted it. I went and made a bluer background. I used a cerulean blue and some white and just kind of coated it so it would look like skies, and this could be like on the top of a hill or something. Okay, what color should I sign it in? I'm going to use the navy because I got plenty of that. Roll that in there and get my initials on there. Alright, thank you guys for coming and painting with me, and I hope y'all will help support the Alzheimer fundraiser. If y'all have any other suggestions or any other things that you would like to, fundraisers you would like for me to help you with, let me know, and I'll see what I can do to work it into my schedule if it's something that I support as well. Alrighty, I hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks again for joining me.